The video today is to go over the original NTN binding from 22 Designs called the Outlaw and its newer version called the Outlaw X and the differences between the two. At first glance, you'll notice that the original Outlaw here in the front is very similar looking to the Outlaw X in the back. From the very front, they both use the same base plate and tour mechanism. You'll also recognize from the axle binding. The toe cage is identical as well. And I obviously don't have a flex plate in here, but the same flex plate is used for both the Outlaw X and the Outlaw. It's from the pivot point where things really start to change. In the original Outlaw, you kind of have this flat metal plate right here. And in the Outlaw X, you've got a little machined piece out of here and it's a little more slender. And then you'll also notice that the attachment to the second heel is quite different from the Outlaw X to the Outlaw. So the first thing you'll notice about the second heel attachment is the way that the bindings sit on the ski. The Outlaw X sits flatter on the ski, and the claw actually cams on the boot to connect it to the second heel. The original Outlaw, however, has these cams that sit on top of the ski and activate the second heel as they're pushed down and then clamp the second heel onto the boot. The biggest advantage to the Outlaw X is that it's very easy to step into it in different situations, whether you're on hard pack or on soft snow. The original Outlaw has some difficulty when you're in softer conditions, especially because there's not as much pressure to push down and cam the binding against the ski. The undercage of the binding has a few differences as well. You'll notice that on the original Outlaw here, the tubes are a little bit thicker than on the Outlaw X. And then some of the components are a little bit different as well. And then the configuration of how the back of the Outlaw X is connecting to out of the small tubes into the claw is different from how the camming device works on the original Outlaw. So that's a brief overview of the original Outlaw binding from 22 Designs and the Outlaw X binding that they more recently came out with last year. As far as skiing goes, they both ski really well. If you can get your hands on an original Outlaw, they ski great. The Outlaw X is much easier to get into and is also a little bit lighter than the original version because some of the components from the pivot point back are different. But both great bindings. 22 Designs has done a great job of creating these, and it's nice to have a step in Telemark binding. Thanks for watching the video. Comment below and let us know what you think.